Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the latest edition of our in-depth teaser video right here on the Global Underwater Explorers YouTube channel. If you are new to the channel, please be sure to like the video, share the video with anyone who you think may be interested, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and tickle our notification bell so you know whenever we release a new piece of content. My name is Deco, one of the hosts here on the YouTube channel, and I am joined, as always, by the rock star over to my right with a very loud dog in the background, Mr. Michael Menduno. Michael, how are you doing?
Hey, Nico. I'm doing good. Merry Christmas. How are you today?
Merry Christmas, mate. Great to see you.
Yeah.
So I understand from just having spoken to you, Michael, that we're going to do things a little bit differently. Exceptionally, this isn't going to be a running thing. We are still going to stick to our usual Michael makes Nico look stupid format, which we do on most issues. But on this issue, my blushes are being spared because we are going to be having a walk down memory lane in a good way. We're not doing copy paste. We're doing revisit. We're doing reboot.
Reboot.
Reboot. Right. It's a prequel. It's a sequel. It's a sidequel. It's a reboot. Everyone loves a reboot. And we're going to be looking at some of the most popular stories that Michael and I, mostly Michael, have covered on the YouTube channel and in depth throughout the year. My understanding is it's going to be the top 10 most read articles, if that's right, Michael?
A little more nuance. It's the top tech stories. So it's a combination of the best read, what we feel is the most important, and what are just really good stories. So we hand curated and went through all the 108 stories we published this year to come up with this list for you of 10 stories plus one.
That's a lot of stories, man.
It's a lot of stories. A lot of good stories, though. So we should probably jump right into them if we're going to get through them. So
rock and roll, my friend. Go for it.
And this isn't necessarily in the order of importance, but just in the order we're going to do these. Number one, we decided to go back to the deepest cave dives today versus those from the 80s and 90s. We basically look at 40 years of cave diving history and how the depths have gone from pretty deep to way deep. In fact, the top 15 deepest cave dives today are all beyond 250 meters, down to about 800 feet in change. So some serious deep diving in caves. And caves, of course, are an environment that lend themselves to that because you can stage bottles, etc. You don't have the dynamics of the ocean environment. And so it's a pretty cool wrap-up story and a lot of history in it. So that's one of the ones we're offering.
Deep caves. And story number two?
Story number two, very important. Can mouthpiece retaining straps improve rebreather diving safety?
Yes.
This is actually a package of stories. It's very timely. This year, the Rebreather Training Council, which is made up of all the training agencies, has come out with a safety initiative for everyone to wear mouthpiece retaining straps. In addition to prevent you from drowning in the event of loss of consciousness, they actually have a benefit and they can hold up your BOV, take some of the weight off your jaw so they can be quite comfortable, easily removed if you have to bail out or switch gas. And this is a story with several authors: Riley Fogarty, our science writer, Dr. Andrew Falk from Australia, Paul Haynes, ex-Special Forces rebreather instructor trainer. So it's pretty good. So that's story number two.
Rebreather mouthpieces, story number two. And story number three, ding, ding, ding.
Story number three, economics of being a tech diving instructor. Actually, it's a package of stories. That story plus broadened out to look at the recreational, if you're just a recreational instructor, and then a new analysis that Darcy Kiernan has done to kind of look at gender differences, agency differences, etc. So if you're an instructor or thinking to be, and you haven't read this story yet, it's a must read. So start reading next week.
Story number three. And story number four?
Story number four, the mysteries of Ratio Deco revealed. We've bribed Rich Walker, instructor trainer over in the UK, shipwreck diver, to reveal the arcane mysteries of GUE's Ratio Deco. Many people believe, of course, this is some secret voodoo cooked up by George Irvin and group to get WKPP divers out of the water faster, but without getting bent. And anyway, Rich takes a deep dive into it, and if you haven't read the story, you'll find it quite interesting.
Deep dive into secret diving voodoo. Story number 4. Story number 5.
Story number 5, drift is normal, being a deviant is normal. This is a story, a human factors story from Gareth Locke. It's a good one, looking at our human biases and tendencies to deviate in all sorts of ways. We just won't behave. So, and obviously we need to design systems so that when we don't behave, we don't die as a result. It's very important. And so it's a really good human factors story worth reading.
So yeah, story number 5, don't die. What's story number 6?
Don't die. Story number 6, some fun stuff. We go exploring. This is sort of a unique exploration story with Nat Geo photographer and Rolex fellow Brian Scarry, investigating and exploring the culture of whales. This is a 3-year project that culminated this last year. He has a video out of a 3-part documentary on Disney and with Nat Geo. He's got a book. It was the cover story of the magazine. And so we get into Brian's head and really his motivation and what he learned spending 3 years following whales around the planet. So it's worth reading. Good story. Whales have culture. That's what they really learned. Whales have culture. They do different things in different areas. They train their offspring to do it. They have different ethnic foods and different behaviors in different parts of the world. So a lot like humans. Hey. Yeah.
Are whales more cultured than Donald Trump? That's story number 6. And story number 7.
Yes, exactly. You must read this. Yes.
And story
so
number 7.
Yep. Number 7, we geek out. Now, this was a story. It wasn't one of the most read stories. It's on pulmonary oxygen toxicity. It's a very uber geek story. There's math in it, for God's sakes. And yet we put it in here because it's really important. Right now, we track pulmonary oxygen toxicity, long-term exposure to oxygen, hyperbaric oxygen, through a method called the REPEX method. It was something developed by Dr. Bill Hamilton back in the day. He sort of admitted he just sort of pulled it out from somewhere and made it work. It's not very accurate, and there are new models now, one by Ran Ariely, and another from Israel, retired researcher, and another from Barbara Shaikoff, who had worked at the Navy Experimental Diving Unit. And these are 2 new models that are going to replace REPEX. So we thought it was important to people to read that. We've also included in this geeky physiology section a 7,000-word essay on the pathophysiology of drowning by Andrea Zafiris. It's a great piece. She does this for a living. She's a medical and legal researcher and etc. into drowning deaths. So it's the main cause of diver deaths is drowning, not necessarily the trigger, but the ultimate cause. And so it's definitely worth reading if you haven't.
Story number 7, drowning. Also, math. Story number 8.
Math, more fun, more math, unfortunately. Gradient factors. What do you set your gradient factors? This has been one of our best read stories. It's by David Dulett, who is a cave explorer and a world-recognized decompression physiologist, and talks about gradient factors, how they were derived, and more importantly, how he sets his gradient factors and why. So we're definitely worth reading. That's story 8. Story number 9. Is freediving safe? If you've been following the DAN statistics every year, now they haven't updated, the last report was from 2019. They haven't updated that yet, I don't believe. But it turns out there's more freediving deaths than technical diving deaths. Like, why is that? It seemed counterintuitive. I should say that freediving in competitions, super safe. I think they've had 2 fatalities in the last 30 years. There are injuries, of course, but very safe practice, but not so much freediving in general. So this story with Ted Hardy, who's a PFI instructor trainer, kind of explores why this is the case. So it's an important and interesting story.
The dangers of freediving. Story number 9. And our last story?
Story number 10, fact or fiction. Did Ahmed Gabr actually do his Guinness World Record dive, or didn't he? It's the jury's still out. we reported on this. We've continued. It's continuing, etc. And until it's totally cleared up, it's probably going to remain a question mark. Guinness did go and respond to some of the allegations and people had discovered, but it didn't seem like they did a very thorough job and address the specific allegations. So it's still a story. So that's
no, it is still a story, and we invited. Well, we didn't invite; it just happened by circumstance. We had some of Ahmed Gabr's, let's call them entourage of fanboys, coming in on the channel and trolling us. That was fun. So, story number 10. I smell bullshit.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, more to this story. I'm sure the rest of the story is bound to come out at some point. I should say 2 fun things in this issue. We have our downloadable annotated techie posters. You will want to download these. You can take them to a Kinko's or a Staples. They'll print out these wonderful big posters that you can put on your wall. So those are in the issue. And we added one more story, which was our most fun story of the year.
Mermaids.
Yeah. Mermaids was certainly one of our fun stories. That was a good one. Shipwrecks, that was definitely fun. People, I'm still laughing at that one. Yeah, those are some good ones. But no, we decided that the most unusual and fun story was titled Brits. I can't even do it now, Nico. Brits Brew Beer Booty. Booty, yes. And this is, of course, a tale of GUE Scotland, who found this wreck, Wallachia. They dived it. They discovered these bottles of sealed bottles of British ale, more than a century old. They were able to do a chemical analysis of the substance inside the bottles. There was no liquid left. And take it to a brewer and redo it. So they were able to drink reconstituted 126-year-old bottled brew. So happy ending for all. They got to dive and got to drink beer. So and they're British. So what could be wrong with all that,
Kept the blood flow. That's what we do in Britain.
That's right. So that's our wrap up for that's going to launch our January. We're launching on next Thursday, what's that date?
Next Thursday?
Yeah.
Is the 6th. You are correct.
Yes. So we're launching on the 6th. So be sure to come to GUE.com/blog or InDepth.blog, as you can see on the screen, and come and read and enjoy. And, thank you for being there.
Free content. It's been running for 3 years now, guys. These guys, Michael's team at InDepth know exactly what they're doing now. It has been 3 years, so you guys, you guys are doing great. We'll keep bringing you the teasers right here on the channel. The annotated techie PDFs can also be downloaded in the description down below if you want to get those down below. But as always, guys, that is it for me right here on the channel. That's it for Michael. Hope everyone's had a lovely Christmas. Wishing everyone a lovely New Year. Will this video come out in time for New Year? This video will be out after New Year. There's where my head's at. So happy New Year, everyone. And thank you for joining us, as always, on the channel. And we will see you guys very soon.